I don't care about all the other times you have applied for an emergency loan, because if you have no job and you are applying for an emergency loan, there is a process, there is a logic, there is a code, there's a formula for it. And I want to share that with you in today's conversation for real.
One in a million, one in a million, one in a million. You know they're coming up to me, cause I'm just the kind of flower with a stinging killer beat, but the rhythms getting higher. Go, 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 go. One in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million.
Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sort Q Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee, or tea, or vodka, and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to share with you how to get an emergency loan with no job. So you're out of work, or you probably have some kind of sporadic employment activity, and the thing is you want to actually get an emergency loan. Whether you want to get the cash in 8 hours or 10 hours or whatnot, doesn't really matter. The thing is that you need to have a code. You need to codify the process so that you actually win. Now, having said that, it's important to understand that you don't want to put yourself in a position where you constantly need emergency cash loans, right? Because if you have that problem, that means that you have a financial problem. But I'm just digressing here. Let's just focus onto this conversation. The first thing is you want to think about your bank statements. If you want to get an emergency cash loan with no job, you better have a bank statement. Why? Because the lender wants to actually dig a little deeper into you. They want to see your cash inflows and cash outflows. Now, to have a bank statement, you need to have a bank account first. So gone are the days where you're having a check systems problem, and you are not banked. You are not bankable. So if you have a bank history that has some derogatory items, you really better fix that. Or you can go through another person, a co-signer, but you need to have a bank account. You got to have a bank account. And when you have a bank account, a lender wants to pay attention to a few things. They want to see how long you have had the account. You got to understand. They want to see some length of history here. Is it 5 years? Is it 4 years? Is it 1 year? Is it 6 months? Okay. And they will check your daily deposit balance. In other words, you have no job. Okay. Where is the cash coming from? Let's have a conversation about that. Okay. Are you getting the cash from sneaky, illegitimate sources, or are you just having a legit cash inflow on the side? Because see, the thing is, you don't need a job to live a life. People have investments. I'll talk about that later on, but people have other sources of income that are they're not related to jobs. Okay. So they will pay attention to your daily deposit balances, and they will see the size of those balances. They will see the frequency. It's important for the lender. Okay. And they will also see the delta. In other words, what is the highest loan, the highest deposit, and what is the lowest deposit. And the lender will also pay attention to your insufficient funds occurrences. In other words, do you have how many times have you had overdrafts in your accounts? Because those are things that signal to the lender that, hey, listen, here is a player that is just having a lot of financial problems. Okay. And no lender wants to deal with you. I mean, it's because if in addition to not having a job, you have to start playing games with them now in terms of your financial situation, they don't want that. So the default risk is kind of going off. So we need to maintain an appearance, at least an appearance of great behavior here, financially speaking, boss. This is important. Okay. A lender will pay attention to your bank statements, and they will also look at your ending balances for the last 3 months. In other words, when you have your bank statements, they'll look at every month, what is your ending balances. So first thing you got to pay attention to is having a bank statement. Okay. Number 2, you want to actually make sure that your cash flows are positive. So the lender is going to pay attention to your cash flows. I don't care if you have a job or you don't have a job. They really want to look at your cash inflows and your cash outflows. Okay. Because if they give you a loan, let's say they give you 10 grand, how are you going to pay them? I mean, let's just be real here, because the lender doesn't really matter. It doesn't really care if you have a job or not. I just said it. They care about getting repaid, because the last thing they want is just to chase your sorry ass, your broke ass, and having to hire a collection agency to actually call you at midnight to recoup their funds, because you start playing games with them and not, returning their phone calls or ignoring their correspondence. Nobody wants that. So the thing here is they want to see the cash inflows and cash outflows. Okay, so the question for the lender is, and the question for you, I'm talking to you, boss, okay? Be real with me, be honest. You have no job, okay? But where is the money coming from? Let's have a conversation about that. I mean, obviously, you are living, and you're probably not living with the parents. You are on your own. You're having some things, some cash inflows from somewhere. Let's just make sure the source of that liquidity is legit. Okay, it's all about legitimacy here. It's all about legality. Okay, so there are several sources that lenders are known to approve. Let's say you have your cash coming from investments. You have your cash coming from business income. In other words, let's say you're a silent partner in a business, and every month you're getting some cash. You can get your cash from your pension payments, your retirement accounts, from dividends. Let's say you have invested very successfully in a couple of stocks, and now they're just paying you handsomely every month or every quarter. Okay, or have you had some social security distributions in the past? Okay, the cool thing here is that for the lender, they want to pay attention to the source of income, but also whether you have enough money to repay the loan. I mean, think about it. This is a landmine of logic. Think about it. For them, liquidity has two things. First, the source of the liquidity and the amount of the liquidity. So if you don't understand anything about emergency cash loans with no job in today's conversation, I want you to memorize that duality, those two things. This is a landmine of logic. Number 3, boss. I want to talk to you about your credit score. Uncle, are you there? I don't want you to just ignore me. Listen to me. Hey. Come over here. Come over here. When we talk about emergency cash loans, imagine emergency loan with no job. Uncle, auntie, I'm talking to you. I want you to pay attention to your credit score. And don't you give me some excuses about, well, I have no idea. I know I'm probably around 450 or 500 or 550 or whatnot. But I don't care about approximation. I want certainty. Okay? I want a clear number. I want you to have a clear idea of what your FICO score is. Don't you give me any approximation, please. Okay? Anybody home, I want you to, let's come over here and let's talk about that. When did you last check your credit score? That's a question, because everybody says, I think I'm in the 600 range. I'm in the 500 range. This ain't no game. This ain't like, this is a game where, I mean, if you want to think about a game, but this is a process where you have to be certain, okay? When did you last check your credit score? Do you have a system in place when you occasionally or continually monitor your credit score? Let's talk about that, okay? Now, if you have not, I want you to go to a platform called annualcreditreport.com. Now, that platform is not, in terms of user experience, in terms of the website design, is not really the biggest, the shiniest website ever, in our view, but it does what it has to do. In other words, you go to annualcreditreport.com and you have the ability to check your credit score for free. Once a year, you can check that for free, and you can get your report from all 3 reporting agencies. Okay, we are speaking about Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and but there are other players out there, and we have spoken about this continually on many shows. There are other players that offer free credit score monitoring all year long. In other words, you need to have a system in place when you check your credit score for free, and it could be weekly, bi-weekly, it could be monthly, or whatnot. So NerdWallet, a good player, Wallet Hub, Credit Karma, CreditWise. Okay, and if you find some errors on your report or some derogatory items that need to be removed, take care of that, boss. Okay, you want to contact and then the funny thing is, you can do this yourself. You don't have to hire like a third party to to charge you extra cash to do this for you. You can write dispute letters yourself, and there are a lot of templates online, and you can take care of that. Okay, and please make sure that you monitor your credit report often. So, boss, what I'm sharing with you today is to have a code, is to have a formula for applying for an emergency loan with no job. Okay, number one, make sure you have a bank statements or a series of bank statements. The thing is, you got to have a bank account. Number two, pay attention to your cash flows, your cash inflows, and your cash outflows. And this has to do with your DTI, your debt to income ratio. You want to keep it below 35%. Number three, you want to check your credit score. So you need to have a clear idea of your credit score. Please don't give me a circa, an approximate number. We want a real number. Okay. Number four, you need to actually we want to talk about lenders. So you want to seek lenders that offer emergency loans. The thing is that not everybody offers emergency loans. So you got to really zero in on some lenders that actually allow you to have those loans. Okay. And one thing you want to do is you want to actually do a compare and contrast between online lenders and local lenders. And this depends on where you're applying from. It depends because lending and banking in general are state affairs, okay, primarily. So everything depends on where you live. And you want to try with your current financial institution first, boss, because you never know. You might get an emergency loan with them and at better rates anyway. So, and in that process, I want you to do me a favor. Do not fall for scammers. There are a lot of players out there who want to take advantage of vulnerable folks who are looking for emergency loans. So don't fall for scammers. And you want to check out some reputable lenders by watching shows like this, by going online and reading reviews. Okay. And there are a couple of players that actually are very good. You have One Main Financial. Okay. With this lender, you have a soft pull and you can borrow from $1,500 to $20,000. We are speaking about emergency loans. Okay. You have eLoan, which is a division of Banco Popular de Puerto Rico, and they actually will lend you up to $35,000 for 60 months maximum. Okay. And the APR there ranges from 8.99% to 21.49%. This is really good. You have Up Loans. Here again, we have a soft pull, and you can borrow from $500 to $4,000. The APR is astronomically high though. Okay. We're looking at things in the three digits. So Up Loans, you really want to be careful here. If you have exhausted all options, you can go to Up Loans. Another player is Rise. With Rise, you can borrow up to $5,000. So we're looking at $500 to $5,000. Okay. And those are really fast emergency loans. Okay. And you have simple, fast loans. You can borrow from $200 to $3,000. And again, here the process is really fast. I want to talk to you about pre-qualification. Boss, we need to talk about that. So pre-qualification. So when you're looking for an emergency loan with, let's say you have no job, okay, you want to systematically, and I don't care what kind of research you have done. Don't you come and tell me, oh, well, I have found no lender that offers pre-qual. No, boss. You have done you have done your homework wrong. You want to look for a soft pull lender systematically. I want to specify that word reflexively, systematically, because the thing here is that if you have no job, you don't want to actually borrow from the first lender that you find. You might get a very high rate anyway, and nobody wants that. So you want to actually shop around and make sure that you have the loan that you need, boss. Okay. I'm talking to you right now because you just watching these shows and you go around and turn around and make the same mistake that I just told you not to do. So I want you to pay attention. So don't go for a lender that right off the bat asks you for a hard pull. You don't want that. You don't want to risk your credit score so fast. Okay. So when we talk about soft pull, we're talking about getting pre-qualified for a loan. In other words, you want to give them your income. Well, you want to give them your financial situation, where you live, your name, your social security number, and all that kind of stuff, and see if they can actually approve you. Pre-approve you. Okay, so you want to have a system that allows you not to hurt your credit score. So the question is, should you get pre-qualified or pre-approved? Honestly, when we talk about emergency loans, who cares? I just don't want your ass to be hard pulled right off the bat. Pre-qualified or pre-approved, there are distinctions when we talk about mortgages, but I'm not going to get into that detail here, okay? Just know that when we speak about emergency loans, I just want you to have a soft pull process. That's all it is. And in that process, the lender is going to look at your basic information to actually make some approval decision, okay? And if you want to pre-qualify for an emergency loan, choose your loan lenders. Okay, I've given you just 5 lenders, and you want to provide your information and review your offers. So basically, if I were you, if I were looking for an emergency loan right now and I had no job, I will apply with all those 5 lenders and see which one will give me the best rate. And I'm not risking anything because it's a soft pull process. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Finest, youngest tequila, and call me señorita. Ay, papi, got me dreaming. My legs up on the ceiling. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know when he come, he ain't never gonna leave now. Hit it the night run, and that's the way I wanna be. So don't think I'm the one to won't ever be enough.
Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Suited Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you about how to get an emergency loan with no job, okay? And, I'm just telling you right away, there is hope. You don't have to panic if you have no job and you're looking for some emergency cash coming in. There is a system to do this. And this is what I'm teaching you right now in this show, okay? Now, let's talk about preparation. So the thing here is that when we speak about emergency loans, the big question is, should you apply in the first place for an emergency loan? Because there are other ways to actually get the cash you need, okay? And you might talk to, let's say you have a cash situation. And the question is, can you actually get money from friends and relatives? Can you get some grants or interest-free loans? Okay, because the thing here is that, and there's a resource that a lot of people don't know about. You can actually call a 211 number. So you can call 211 to learn more about free assistance that may be available through charities and nonprofits in your local area. Okay, so the number is a 211. Okay, and the thing here is that if you have a financial hardship, can you actually reach out to your creditors, lenders, and service providers and let them know that, hey, listen, I'm going through some hard times now. Can we find a deal? In other words, do you want to actually reschedule the payments? Okay, so those are things you want to think about. And see, there are 5 factors that you need to consider before applying for an emergency loan. I've given you your credit score. Yes, that is important. Number 1, credit score. Number 2, the repayment time. See, you get an emergency loan, but you have to think about the maturity of the loan. In other words, how long you have to repay that debt, how long that payment will be part of your DTI, your debt to income ratio. Let's have a conversation about that, because the DTI can actually derail your future loan applications and credit card applications. If you have a very high DTI, this is not good. You want to keep your DTI low. So item number 1, your credit score. Item number 2, your repayment time. Item number 3, pay attention to the interest rate. Item number 4, the funding time. Okay, we are speaking about an emergency loan, and I don't want a lender to drag their feet and actually approve you within 7 days or within 14 days. This is why we don't want to deal with banks and credit unions right away when we're speaking about emergency loans. Okay, and you want to pay attention also, and that's number 5. You want to pay attention to the loan features. Okay, I'm talking about, are you having a discount for enrolling in automatic payments? Are you basically, is the loan free of late fees, prepayment penalties, origination fees, and all that kind of stuff? Let me talk to you now about the application itself. So the thing here is that you have done your research, you have watched shows like this one, you have you have gone online and read about their customer reviews. You have done your research, right? So Now it's time to compare those loans. You want to compare and contrast emergency loans. What I'm trying to say is you want to apply, okay? Pre-apply. You want to be pre-approved, okay? Check out the interest rates, the repayment time, the funding time, the features, and credit score requirements for several emergency loans. That way you can choose the best option for your needs, okay? So the comparison it's very important. So then you want to read customer reviews. Now the thing is, when we speak about customer reviews, you can actually you can watch shows like this. You can actually go online, but you want to contact the company itself. Oh yeah, you want to have a clear idea of what you're dealing with. So contact them and ask for information. Contact customer service, and they'll let you know that, hey, listen, I just want to know a little more about your emergency loans. What is the process? What are the requirements, and get pre-qualified. Once you are pre-qualified and you see your loan options, you can fill out the application for real. Okay. And so really for emergency loans, what we have seen is that on average, decisions come within 4 hours. Okay. You'll need to provide basic information about yourself, as well as details about your income and employment if needed. But if you don't have a job, again, as long as you have your income and your cash inflows, they're good to go. And some lenders might require things like government issued IDs, okay, and proof of income. What I'm trying to say here is, if you have no job, that's fine, but you need to tell them where you are getting the cash. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, making sure that the source of income is legit. And once you do this, wait for a decision and funding. Okay. And depending on the emergency loan and lender you chose, you shouldn't have to wait long for an approval decision and funding. Okay. And yeah, so the last phase is you get approved and get your money. That's what it is. Get approved and get your money. And at the end of the day, it's all about, you can get your cash actually via direct deposit, but some lenders might even send you a check or a prepaid card. Thank you so much for your attention. In today's conversation, I was talking to you about how to get an emergency loan with no job. So number one, take care of your bank statements, have a bank account. Number two, your cash flows. I'm speaking about cash inflows, cash outflows. Number three, your credit score. Number four, the lenders. Okay. Number five, you need to seek pre-qualification reflexively, systematically. Number six, you want to prepare. And number seven, let's do the application in earnest. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.